Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another reflection video. So, in this reflection video series, I talk about life updates, what I've been going through, what my business is going through, basically anything that I want to talk to you guys about and keep a digital record in the hope that it helps me in my journey. And if anybody is following me or those who are subscribed to me, my YouTube channel, or those who are interested in the topics that I want to talk about or that I am passionate about, they get an opportunity to know where I am and what things are going, where things are going. Yeah, my mind is not really in a very stable situation right now. So I want to start talking about the different health aspects, particularly from the point of view of a productivity perspective. Because there's this book called The Power of Full Engagement. And in this book, the authors talk about four different types of health: physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health. And I've been reading this book over the years. Like the first time I read it, I went through all of it. This book taught me about energy optimization across these four verticals. It also taught me about taking breaks in between peak performance level. For example, it talked about top tennis players being able to perform better because the time where they're not playing, like they're maybe changing the side of the court or maybe they're walking up and down between the sets, they have a way to relax their body with a special type of breathing or some form of technique that they apply. And they get super, super relaxed. And this helps them improve the next set, like improves the playing in their next set. But average tennis players don't do that, and they are always pushing themselves and not pulling themselves back during the performance, and this negatively impacts their performance. And that's stayed with me. It's been more than 10 years since I read the book. And the other thing is dividing our attention into these different energy verticals. I'm sorry, health verticals, but they are also a form of, I would say, but this is loosely speaking. Don't count on scientific foundation when I say that these are different forms of energy that we have, like physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, and spiritual energy. But it's just a way to explain our existence and the states we are in and how we're feeling. That that's what we will talk about today. I also want to talk about AI Buddy Catalyst Labs, how my business is doing. And there are some interesting challenges that I am facing now, which I didn't anticipate to be this critical. But now that I have identified them, how I am dealing with them, what I want to do in the upcoming days, and any lessons along the way. Okay, so let's start talking about the health verticals. In terms of physical health, I am not doing well, unfortunately. I have been very physically inactive over the last few months. I remember specifically because I was in a more physically active state, but then I decided to invest every living hour into my work, even though it is not a very productive way. Because any productivity books you read, they will tell you that you need to put your energy into different activities in order to have a more optimum productivity or productivity focused lifestyle. Like Tim Ferriss, like there's Chris Bailey or Thomas Frank or Ali Abdal. If you look at their contents, they do talk about different aspects of a productivity focused person's life. and the importance of being able to balance all of that. I still broke that rule because I purely wanted to go as deep as possible by investing every bit of energy I have. So I think mathematically that was an inaccurate decision. But let's talk about the good things that happened because of that. So it you can imagine this like a dog chasing its objective and not stopping until it has done so. The dog is taking breaks, like sleeping or just stopping for eating some food and then just running after the goal. That's what I think I have done in this journey, and it's not a very pleasant thing to do. It it is a very alienating experience sometimes from a regular human life, but I'm happy I did it because I got to see some aspects of building a business in Canada, growing a startup in Canada, and building AI agents for the future and for the present. These I would not have done so if I had invested my time into different tasks. For example, exercise, meditation, and shopping grocery items which are more optimized for better diet. As I say this, I'm just thinking, what a stupid decision it it must have been. And as a result, my body feels like shit. I feel like shit. My mental health, my mental energy levels, I would say, are not optimum. There are points when I'm super focused, but there are points when I'm super dull. But it's better to have a much higher baseline, and then emotionally, once again, it's not as but then again, when I talk about emotional health, I would say it's I've have experienced a better state, and that's because I put myself into more social events, social experiences, and I made a stronger effort in reaching out to people and creating content. And I was given a lot of feedback by people I barely knew or people I have known for a long time in both categories. So I got a lot of learnings and a lot of human beings like helping me in this last 3 months because I just kept pushing myself, putting my time into work. And I think from previous experience that I've also seen that happen to me in a different country, actually in two different countries, is when people around you who care about you and they care about things like professional ethics or things like doing good for the community, when they see you are adopting a lifestyle like that, where you're trying to do something big, something very ambitious, usually they help you or they ridicule you. But in both ways, they are actually giving you clues and hints to go further in the journey. There's just something really magical about that, which is hard to explain. And because of these feedback that I got to try different approaches. So, for example, maybe during August, I met someone and they told me some stuff. I didn't quite like it, but I went back home. I thought about it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try a different approach because the person actually made sense. Whether I like it or not isn't that important, but it makes sense. Let me try a new approach. Next day I try something new, and guess what? I get a better result. In some cases it didn't happen that way. People gave me a suggestion. I tried it. It sucked even more, so I stopped doing that. But this kind of A/B testing into how I interact with people, into how I'm talking about my products or getting into a just a friendly conversation it made a big impact. And emotionally, I would say I am in better control over my emotions. And I also have been able to kind of, I don't know if emulsifying is the right word. It's basically create a shield, or like hardened some of my nervous system responses. So I'm not I'm not fidgeting as I used to before. So in the previous video I made 2 months ago about my life update, I was talking about being a neurodivergent person, and I think I still am, but I have much better guardrails in terms of emotional management as opposed to 2 months ago. In terms of spiritual health, this is something I've been very proud of for the last 8 or 9 years, because I really feel spiritually very, very much blessed and strengthened. However, I would say I have not experienced a steady connection with the spiritual source of energy that I was able to connect previously. I have experienced really, 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 really peak level spiritual energy, but then I have also felt like I'm completely disconnected from all of the sources that of spiritual energy that used to nourish me, even when I'm praying or even when I'm doing the spiritual activities that I do regularly. I'm not being able to harvest the same kind of energy. So these are some things to think about and some things to take notes on. Basically, spiritual energy is connected with purpose, why we are here on this planet, why we're alive, and it's closely connected because of that to religion. And I practice my religion, which is Islam. However, I'm not 100% aligned with every single thing that people who taught me when I was a kid what about Islam. So I don't agree with them 100% because I've been taught a lot of things about what a Muslim person should do. But a Muslim person, the people who taught me, in their defense, they were not ready for a digital world in 2025. So they were teaching me things in 1995, 1998, 2000, 2002, or whenever. Things that were always already very, very much outdated, and they were just talking from a sense of belief. But even the belief was formed from, in my opinion, some interpretations which were done poorly. So I don't want to go too much deep into that because it's a weird situation and it may create an impression by some people. I mean, it's just not a thing that I want to talk a lot about. But all I want to say is that I have I follow some scholars and I follow their teachings, but I haven't really been visiting them that much. And Islam is about peace, but in today's world, especially if you're a startup builder in 2025 in the highly competitive AI agent industry, you're kind of you have to be very aggressive and sometimes very ruthless. And my usual state is very calm, trying to stay in a peaceful state. But then when that kind of ruthlessness is triggered in me, I do trigger that because I have to get things done, but not in a ruthlessness in a way where I'm mean to other people, but it's just like rejecting every signal coming towards me and just focusing on the task that I'm doing and jumping to the next task without looking at right, left, or center, just focused on my startup journey. And that is sometimes very alienating again to other people. And without making it very clear, people can get confused very quickly because maybe I am building the startup to help more people, which is the case. But people are interpreting that, oh, this guy just wants to make a lot of money on this trend. He's talking about the gold rush. But my whole point of talking about the gold rush is to be able to manage enough gold so that I can spend that to help people enrich their lives. Uh, I'm a I do volunteer regularly. I really like helping other people out. I pay regular donations, and that's why I want to make more money so I could help more people. And the other thing is this whole discussion about AI taking away people's jobs. I'm actually trying to see how many ways can we create more employment. So talking about these purposes, I think that's something I'll be doing from now on to improve the spiritual energy and basically my connection, which used to be very stable, but now it's like a bad Wi-Fi connection. It comes and it goes. Same with mental. Mental, basically, mental energy is more about having focus, having your ability to really focus, and emotional energy is more about having fun while doing things, or being in a state where you're not kicking yourself. So this is how they're separate. So yeah, that's pretty much my situation across the four verticals of energy. I realized I was talking about health initially. The book Power of Full Engagement, The Power of Full Engagement, it actually talks about energy, not health. I kind of interpreted it differently, so sorry about that. But I think the core essence of what we're trying to discuss remains the same. It's about being aligned with these different aspects of our being and the states we stay in. And if we could make measured efforts into improving each aspects, we would be in a more productive state and in a more and we would be living in a more engaged state. That's where the term full engagement comes from. So fully being able to focus on things that matter. So yeah, that's the update. Physically not well, mentally not so well, emotionally better, spiritually not so well. And that kind of leads me to the next phase. So I'm thinking next month I'll make another video like this. And within this month, I will have to spend more conscious effort into these four verticals. And one last thing to note about this particular commitment is it's a strategically different way of living, because I was in the whole I'll just go into a caveman mode and just focus on one thing. It's also a hunting technique that one of the tribes in Africa they follow. But yeah, so I'll just talk about that briefly. It's a really cool way where they basically the coming of age ritual in that tribe has has is about the young tribe member has to hunt an animal, but the method that they will do is just chasing the animal until the animal runs out of energy. So it's a constant 2 days or 3 days long chase that this young tribesman has to do. Just keep chasing the beast until the beast is super duper tired. And if you've seen that video, I'll put a link in the comment section. It is crazy. Like at one point, this animal knows that there is no running away from this hunter, and then the animal just gives up, just lies down because it knows that it's over. It's really brutal, and I don't recommend this to anyone. People like me who are a little crazy in experimentation can take these risks, and I also have a very strong support system, and I'm a resourceful person, luckily, thankfully to God. I could afford it. But now I've disengaged from this hunt, and being in this hunt has earned me some friends, some alliances. I am in a much more stronger level of the ecosystem where I'm being supported in multiple ways. And a lot of the people who were doubting me have actually changed or shifted their positions, or I see them already shifting and readjusting. And that's very important in a startup founder's journey because people usually start to empower the startup when they fully trust the founder and in the founder's ability. So that's a nice segue for me to go into the business aspect of AI Buddy Catalyst Labs. So I have now incorporated the company. We are going for a launch. Our flagship product, Doc Director, is going to be launched soon, this month, of course. And the company used to be called AI Buddy Learning Lab. Now it's AI Buddy Catalyst Labs. And the interesting thing is, I was thinking of just naming it like Catalyst AI or something just today because AI Buddy, it's becoming more and more of a generic term. But that's okay. It's just a thought I'm sharing. I'm not going to take any actions based on this. It's already done. The dice is cast. But the catalyst word, it's becoming more and more important for me because when I look back into my life now, that's what I have been most successful at. Like, I've rarely been the MVP in whatever team I was, but me being in the team or me being in the environment led to so many good stories and such big wins. I can talk about experience that happened during my school or during my high school or during my college slash university time where like every time when I'm there, something about the way my parents have brought me up, something about how I really kind of immediately I'm drawn to the underdogs and I want to help the underdogs win. And I also can connect well with the champions, but there's always this tension between the champions and me because usually champions immediately recognize other champions and I'm kind of like I would say a semi-champion. That's all right. But even in the companies I've worked with, team members I've worked with, I was always appreciated because I kind of lift up the whole system of human beings working together. It's just like positive energy and with supportive attitude and with non-cannibalistic intuitions and intentions, which is a very interesting thing to talk about because unfortunately there is a there is an availability of incentive mechanisms for super cannibalistic high performers in the world. It's just crazy, but it is there. And eventually those people end up winning because when push comes to shove, the nice person eventually stops, but the cannibal person makes sure, mentally cannibal, of course, I'm saying, like they will make sure that they eat up the entire competition and they become fully anti-competitive, like in a trustworthy manner, I'm saying. So basically, creating monopolies. It's. I mean, I have to learn more about it. I cannot make any comments, but that's what I've seen. Like eventually, a group of human beings who don't mind being cannibalizing the industry or cannibalizing jobs or cannibalizing the system, like some form of ruthless aggression that they harbor which is not sustainable. Eventually things happen, but it works, and there is an incentive system for that for sure. So there, when you look at champions, there are different types of champions. So the champions who are relaxing and resting and taking a break are sometimes at a disadvantageous position to these reptilian cannibalizing practitioners. Going too much deeper into these kind of abstract concepts, let me back out a little. I've been able to help as a catalyst, as a human catalyst. So now my company is in that AI agent catalyst space, and I am getting options of partnerships and alliances, and I'm hoping that in September we have some clear partnerships formed, very specific and very productive, and we get to double up our monthly revenue this month. And that's one more thing I'm very happy to say, that finally this month we have received revenue, and we're expecting another source from one client, another revenue source. But that's, I mean, as much as I'm happy, I also know that this is not enough. I have to make sure that the company makes at least 4 times of what we have just made in order to fully be sustainable. And now the challenges are like exploding, because, and not exploding as in breaking down, but they're like exponentially increasing because the fall season is about to come, and I really want to buy a car, but I've invested and I kept all the money for the car to go into AI Buddy. So I can do with renting, but then again, it's not a permanent solution. My family members they're getting worried now because they are used to the job mentality, like the security that a job would have. And the only thing that would like shut their insecurity would be me having a lot of clients and having a lot of revenue. So until I go there, no matter how well I manage my energies, the people that I'm regularly connected with, they are going to connect their anxieties and plug them into my brain, and then I'm gonna have to be a super manager of those anxiety that my social support system is putting into my brain. And I have to also manage it in a way that they don't get offended, which is where like the company's challenge is also. It's all about the people management at this point. So that's the last thing I want to talk about before I wrap up this video. It's pretty evident to me that my team can make decent technical solutions, and it's also clear that any technical solution is going to continuously have some form of feature requests from the customer or some bugs that are appearing now and then. So my team has the discipline to improve and to debug. So we are good in terms of building. But in terms of selling, that's a whole different game. And in this different game of selling right now, it's more about, I mean, the word is going to sound very technical, so I want to use different words. It's more about being able to manage emotions internally, what we're feeling, and also the emotion of the other person that we're talking to. So it doesn't become a sales pitch. It doesn't become like a try my product kind of pitch, but it's a more natural conversation where people kind of start to like you first, and then they're kind of more interested into the product. And when they use the product, they get more confidence, and eventually a conversation starts about a deal. And no matter how much productive I am or anybody is, or no matter how good their AI product is right now, these rituals of human relationship building, formation, and earning trust of someone to test your product and to buy your product, it's going to be there. It gets easier with more accomplishments. It gets easier with more social proof and with more success, of course. But until that point, it's a tough climb. I feel like I have almost laid out the groundwork. Now it's about the reps, putting in the reps. Now it's about revitalizing the relationships and continuously reinforcing the productive behavior and activities. And on that regard, this month is going to be the system modifier month for this quarter, the last quarter of 2025. I will be spending a good amount of time with each department heads and the professionals who are working under the department head in order to set up a better value system in the company, as well as a better operational system and a better communication system. These are already in a refined state in AI Buddy, thanks to my previous experience of working in startups and good companies, as well as the 2 MBAs I have done. I have been able to deploy a lot of the useful knowledge into this system. But now we need an upgrade to be one of the frontier operators in the world. And it's not, I mean, it's easy to say, I just said something cool, but but to deploy it, to do this one circuit revolution upgrade, full circuit, it's going to need some good isolated planning time. And I mean, I'm kind of surprised because usually it used to seem very difficult. But now that I've said it, I can already see the next steps that I need to do. Imagine like the next branches that I need to just jump, the endpoints that I need to keep connecting. And after that, the system is going to be there. What could be the biggest blockers? As a project manager, I'm going to wear the risk evaluator hat before I wrap up the video. And the biggest risk, I would say, is one is losing faith, which I have made a very, very strong requirement. The entire team knows that we cannot lose faith at any point until we get a strong signal that something is off. The other risk item would be some form of technical failure, which we are also very, very aware of and very careful about. So I don't think that's going to happen. The biggest risk would be me kind of lacking a tracker, that like not evaluating the trackers report, because I do have some trackers, but I won't say that I've been following it diligently. But if I manage the 4 different types of energy and improve the 4 different verticals of health that I discussed earlier in the video, and if I implement systems, better systems, and if I keep just putting in the reps, the other stuff that I've been just doing already, and just have this tracker is okay. This tracker is what we need to now focus on. That's what I think. That's my hypothesis at the end of this video. Having a better tracker for all the verticals of health and business health would lead me to a better company that gets funding by the end of October, or gets enough revenue generated within September and October that we don't really need to worry a lot about any pre-seed funding. The only funding we'll get is one seed round, and that's it. Then you just watch Jack's beans grow all the way to the sky. Standing on an optimistic note, but I am aware it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows, and there's a long list of requirements down the road. But I have very strong players in the team now and in my support system now, so I do have a strong chance of winning. With that being said, I'll end this video. Thank you very much for watching it all the way. If you did so, feel free to check out the other videos on the channel and wish me all the best. I wish you all the best. And if you like these kind of contents, feel free to subscribe and feel free to drop a comment. And yep, with that being said, take care. Bye bye.